Coming up on Marcus and Joni, it's a story of overcoming the impossible. Ceitci Demirkova explains how to embrace a life of courage and purpose.
One of the favorite stories from the book, and I want you to share it with our viewers, is about Chernobyl.
Oh,
Tell
yes.
us about that.
That is in chapter 7, and I talk about just waking up literally in the middle of the night by a phone call from the neighbors saying, look outside the window. And we both, my parents and I, ran to the window, and everything was dead. Literally, the trees, the plants, everything, some of the smaller animals, everything had died because of the Chernobyl radiation from Ukraine. And we had no exposure to really the news to understand what was going on. So we rushed to the village where most of our animals were. And we had sheep at that time. My dad had a few sheep, and I would always, prior to the Chernobyl explosion, trick them into running after me with a little patch of grass. And then that day, what struck me as a child is I get there, and I go to see them, and I go to touch them, and they were covered with this dust, and their fur was wet, their wool was wet, and they were just crying and making this really sad noise because of fear. And to them, I was a threat because I was the one that was tricking them into getting in trouble before. See, they remembered. And the moment they heard my father walking through the gate to get to them, automatically they calmed down, and their pain, it seemed like, eased because they heard that their shepherd was there. And so what I relate to that in the story is about God being our true shepherd. That in the times when everything is going well, we have many shepherds and everything is great and we're excited and we can follow anybody and anywhere. But in time of tragedy, nobody else can satisfy our soul like God. Nobody else can bring that peace and the assurance. And for me, I bring that whole understanding of how our mind, our emotions, and our body works in time of trauma, how to overcome that. It goes through the entire book. And so I take people on that journey again of discovering themselves.
You're such an inspiration to us all. What would you say to that person that's out there, that's watching right now, that is going through a difficult time? Just look in the camera and encourage them.
I would say never lose hope, because God is always the one that can do a miracle in your life.